94.7 Asempa FM so ne Ekosiisen dwumadie no asoguso a utie no mrene kɔ by the next 45 minutes ebehwe edi enkomo se dem de kan ye no Dr. Bernard Okoboy, former Deputy Health Minister, former MP, ewo Lejokoko constituency. Watenase ewo studio hadada Atik Mohammed, a convener of the Mass Action Group, and also ewo eha. Sanso and Adala Sampoma Williams, a Regional Communications Officer ma NDC, ewo Eastern Region. Wabekansa ewo studio ha. Certainly, any policy that equalizes and levels economic differences will face some of the speculative cases Free SHS is drawing now. Any wonder? Already, the numbers of intake at SHS has gone up. True or false? Ghana has thus the potential to reduce illiteracy and promote possible employment as well as responsible citizenry. Let's focus on the number of students who, but for this policy, would have ended up on our street or houses without education as a foundation. That is where the meat is. Challenges will come and problems we shall face, but our duty is to fix them collectively with the win-win attitude that true education inspires. Enough of the negativity. Ghana shall not die, but live to glorify God and the founding of this nation in 1957 at great cost. God bless our homeland Ghana and make our nation great and strong. May we cherish fearless honesty. Let's be positive with ourselves. James Kwabena Bonfair and on the way Abba. Whether we like it or not, President Akufo-Addo has made Free SHS a big deal. The late President H.E. Magufuli took a cue from Ghana. This one says, my senior brother, Professor Kwesi Opoku-Amankwah, has done a great job this afternoon addressing some of the misconceptions that are gaining currency about Free SHS. There are challenges inherent in nearly every new major policy of this nature. While scrutiny is good for any policy, critics should also be able to listen and appreciate the informed positions of policy managers. Good faith requires that we take time to understand the challenges, refrain from knee-jerk alarmism, and support the policy. Professor Opoku-Amankwah and other leaders in the education sector have shown they have the capacity and empathy to lead this process. I trust him, and so should you. Dr. Prince Ama, MP, Kwesementim constituency. From one doctor, I come to another doctor. Dr. Bernard Okoboy, Akwaba, na afi eteseng.
Obi, Yankupon Adom.
Bibi Ekoye.
My film pa, mi chiamunso.
I feel brutal.
Mameto mahini. Enti, asunjeni, enijin kwa. Sisi ni debia na masoja. Uye public officer na usho mahini pe. Ida se, ebi a okorube contem. Ana omechiano na wape obi afa. Ba mafinu so. Yeah. Mafinu pa. Unze meno. Mimi ni Kennedy Japan wait ni bi. Mimi ni Ken Japan wait ni bi. Enti mi nkasa na funa ekese. Nema bebre ni jise michiano ka no 101.
Na wakache no.
Na mami ntia otie fo nyina ni Ghana fo nyina nso. We are not in normal time still. Nyankopandom ene kasai Dr. Koboy myself any close to we've done about close to 400,000 Ghanaians anya 2 shots of the COVID.
Okay.
Na media the ema meniji pa ni say me colleagues health workers almost every health worker in Ghana from Accra to North has been given opportunity to get vaccinated. Enti I can
2 shots or 1? 2.
In fact, this program no cover one. I know, say, some of them had their second shot outside the first phase. Now, Obi is good, so I reminding me. Because some of them, outside the first phase, it is possible, say, some of them might not have gotten the second shot.
Okay.
But at least, every health worker, I can authoritatively say, one year the first shot. Now, Obi, because Nyama improve kakran, one shot na ye refi say, the world is still not in normal times.
Yeah.
And now kasano omomunye cinema operators still onko ejuma sebi ontimi nya no customers. Onya no customers e operate pe oko ni fia ahonche wo. Basa ahonche no enye se sebi o president atina Jubilee House. Target is we remember omo wachi omo. But it's because of how we want to manage and save lives and livelihoods. And I'm do kasa still your companies people Europe and America COVID into they are not operating fully. Into one hour or Daniel Macra, either say Mbakra announce some kind and I buy in lower volumes. Just say import to beba from buying Nisika or places on yawo. One of them is the ports. And he said Nisika kofompe. Bibi anafes oyema ono. Either says Andy no one shana eba form and I was on copy busiano fan closino. Atikwa the flow how do you call it directions the conformer you have to increase another place so that you can make ends meet. Enti me can when I say we are all not in normal times but abame born home modern na basics na was saying yenye na ye mitigate the adverse effects of the pandemic. Enti obi mesre we are not in normal times now obi amfa na adwin ni na ho di nta ba nechi obi see it could have been worse. One of the panelists oba or say obi it could have been worse. It's true. But unfortunately, who save you Obi say, what me say car baba Bobby, no uni free accident no more. And he said the abon na walk out to the hospital.
That's true.
Unse once wa veti what ye calamity ne free or no. Or nipa is part of human nature. Wait to say any Ekosiisen enti I didn't know here. But car no bono. No ko sha no kolebu na wanya fracture ni ama na wenwu a. One should be intervention now and one wouldn't obey more appreciative crache there. Oma car anya den ambonu crash. So as for me, when I hear of complaints, I always ask for calm, assurance. Our shoulders are the wheel. President here Sebi or your leader our botai compassion will come to free SHS. Me can say left to competence alone. A leader will not implement free SHS. Obi, the status quo is always easy to manage than a new program or system. Fourth Republic, when Rawlings was president, we were paying fees at the secondary school. When Kufuor became president, we were paying fees at the secondary school. When Prof Mills became president, we were paying fees at the secondary school. Even with the payment of fees, the secondary school system had challenges. If you get a president who dares to say that, I will take care of all the fees and still attend to the other challenges, structural challenges, just or you're bold, just or you're transformational, or you're daring, and you get the best in leaders who leave the status quo and said, I want to go a new direction. For daring to change the system alone. And I can say, is it competence? No. Compassion. Compassion. Make compassion because you still will have this force that pushes you to change the system despite the fact that our predecessors, they've carried the system. And I always compare the two. President John Dramani Mahama, on one account on the book, we say, no, Chimota. But Edru Secondary School, they have to go to the north. And Obisa and Papa say, why do you want us to leave the city and go back home? Or see, it's because Nkrumah put a system to bridge the gap between those who have access to education in the south and those who are trying to catch up in the north. But because you come from the north, we can benefit from this. This is what the father told him. Now, how come the one who explains the system says that we are not fit to do it for everybody yet? Let's continue over decades. And then you get someone who was privileged to experience education, even in Europe, Obi. Why would the one who did not experience say, I want to pay for everybody so they experience? It's compassion. That's the answer. And I mean, Dr. Kobo, Makanda, Michio Obi saw here open defecation. I look for ways to provide a source of the open defecation before looking for the police to put them in jail. It's not that I endorse it, but I've also found myself in the position where to even Sebi, a place of convenience was a challenge. If you've not been there before, you might go for the law. But if you've been there before, you start looking for the means before attending to the law. Obi, what I say.
Yeah.
So my point is Ghana is not heaven. Even in the US, people are queuing at food banks for food because of challenges with COVID and all that. So if Obi Council will challenge your Ghana, I'm not the one who jump and start attacking the person. But we should also be honest with ourselves. We should look at where we are coming from, look at where we are, and find ways to make progress.
Because of timing, quick welcome now for you're going to free access. I think Akwaba, it's saying,
well, it could be better, but then you may see.
And you may say, Wababa Kayan, who was studio. And
just quickly, I mean, this is wait a minute, can I tell just like 2 minutes now? Okay. I read somewhere, I think somewhere late last week and early this week, Kodeo official be making comment, and I was saddened by his comment.
Kodeo.
Yeah, also Kodeo is supposed to be one of the most important pillars in a democratic consolidation process.
In terms of elections.
Elections.
Right?
Omabwa with election monitoring, Omu support for the electoral commission, Juma Omu and what have you. And Timika is our comment, I was really saddened. And the comment or the remark sort to suggest near electoral commission forecast is just an exaggeration, and that to my achievements in Serbia from Kubia. But yes, and I was really saddened because could your body be a Sebi. It's not just like any other civil society organization. It plays a very important role, and the commentary is very important because this is supposed to be, in fact, Kode is supposed to be a referee of the referee.
Yeah.
Until what the electoral commission does, omuna ese omutimi emma objective view of what they think the electoral commission did. So when you begin to make comments that oxygenate a certain mindset and a certain narrative, which narrative seeks to undermine the work of the electoral commissioner, and to suggest is just like some of my achievements near exaggeration. Which electoral commission has ever conducted an election in a pandemic? You been see that. And to have been able to do that within a period of 6 months, say registration as a kotuaba, and for want of a better expression, somewhat seamlessly, I don't think it's by no means a mean achievement. What you must say?
Yeah.
So when you make comments like that, and look, and they also made the point that turnout, we've had turnout about 80% in the past in San. In 1992, turnout was about 54.7%. 96, it was a little over 60%. In 2000, so I think it was around 61.9 or 61.7%. These were pandemic-free years.
Elections, yeah.
Now, so turnout, but we had a pandemic, and a turnout was 79%. You can't say Sebi. This is an exaggerated achievement. Nobody saying Sebi when the election management body but Sebi omuya dey so say with a view to encouraging them to do even more. But omuya na obo omabim sa twi be aya ebu say near offer their piano. And it's not for the fun of saying something but it just tells you there is some inspiration to be drawn from encouraging people who do good to continue to do that. But and these are not even comments that are rooted in facts. These are just comments, whatever the intention was, I have no idea. But they are not comments that are rooted in facts, and they do not serve to inspire the electoral commission. And in my view, they don't also amount to constructive criticism. Sebi, I mean, there are civil society organizations. I can excuse them because we've had some in the past. Even when events and time have vindicated the electoral commission, I mean, they are still reeling in the past frustration, and it's understandable. But Kodeo dear Sebi, I mean, since 2000, Kodeo was instituted in 2000. To start local election and a domestic election observation. Wow. Nti omu is a unique organization. Nti omu kasa can have a certain effect. And I was really saddened, like I said, by Sir comment. Going forward, I think that they should be more mindful of Neomoka because they probably underrate the effect of Nsema Omuka. Exactly, because Kodeo dear, like I said. Omunsem omuka carry weight.
Okay.
And when you say so, not backed by the facts, it can also have a certain effect on your reputation as a domestic election observation group and so on.
Okay. Thank you. And that's Atik Mohammed. Dallas and Poma Williams Akwaba net saying
Yanuaobi
Ibia Boko.
Oba de adom ye boko sa se unimu se ne da ye kanu no niema nkoyi and Ghana mabunu ebre and Nanado Danko Akufo-Addo aban yi adame kan wo dan mu se So be to me a decent place at that as a young man, I won't cry. And in any of our capital cities, no, unkita 500 Ghana a month, a bedding. So be never be papa.
And look, a single room.
Single room. Be crowd or where you're lucky and a washroom shim. But in most cases, when you're lucky,
only a man for better guy,
and then you can and own experience, Sibia. On Teddy, can I say? The Atik on Tiasia, Dr. Okoboy on Tiasia. But the ordinary Ghanaian or streets in him, or town duster, ever quaneso, or town peaky, ever quaneso, so upon and you made a baby or better crano, a problem. And this issue and our problem may be to me a cobra, yenya a visionary leader, like His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Na amana donko na nado danko Akufo Addo aban di atomo no watumi ayen afrim na obi on EC issue me di say instead senka EC begina abonten no obo ne ho abaso na senka obepa Ghana fo chew se medwuma me di ye no anko yie momfa nche me na ye koye nim no moma me akwanya ne bi mu a me di dwuma no amana koso yie obi fisi about Fourth Republic. This is the very first time I had to a bar. Ye call elections in Nimono, ye registration. Ye registration ni we no. Now Bashama nipa be over 21,000. Eko he omudi exhibition no omudi nim. Ebin see that. Isi James Abri eso. Eno actually obi. This is the very first time I had to a bar in our Fourth Republic. Inipa nwotwe. And I'm the recklessness of the Electoral Commission. And
really?
For, oh yes. 8 people lost their lives.
How do you link the two? So, EC boss, because they were not in charge of election day security. One more job is to run elections.
One on call for now what districts no. One don't call near EC.
That's
it. Then one year or one is sorono.
Okay.
Or the bar sorono and one implementing the form. And the Mensa cannot run away from the fact say na breast why election many pound what she cannot run away from it. This is the very first time I had Twaba in our Fourth Republic. Electoral commissioner. Emrama ne ho kwan say ono and actually the wedding kunimo presidential election. Or the results be 9 at Twabonting. Memeti hey. Minimum results from Bawadi declare another than Akufo Addo as winner of the 2020 elections. Because you would declare on 9th December or sign the press statement by as well corrected. Correction across or sign you know, and from so baby. And no actually no. On the website. Pink sheets, 275 constituencies a year coalition sheets and they work in our and then the declaration on the 9th December, on the 10th, no, and yet pepe. Results are signed the court, Supreme Court. And also, and then you would kind of bad one thing a bobra. So, Nyankaya expect every James son about Dr. Bosmaster and Mohone say, Ya twa banewi. When ya or might say Ghana, Yempemu Jashigo, did you see any naturino? Ubia say infantry, China yen yenim. This is the time I was say, Oman Quaridia di winim, no Pagana for what I was say, may yen share bonnie. Mfanchemen ye koye nimono. Mehwe se meye niema kama ede asomdwe bede ebeba. Ba se wo babonten na ase wo bo wankasa wo ho abaso a wo bi biara wo man mu a wo pe nokware. En museje mensa amone ho moden ha. Na se wo de enchene san ye kurum. It's very unfair. Again obi nokure a wo mu ne se Dr. Okoboy mu books mu no ebi ana book mu de e kire se all health workers ya vaccinate them. But oko for moi that
almost
is not the reality. Min mu bi kura first job ne kura munyae health workers. Our first job ne bukura no omunyae. Talk less of some babenya a second job.
Mono he omo woni mono.
Me wi a metumi abodi a kire
Dr. Okoboy.
Dr. Okoboy off air.
Okay.
What I say?
Okay.
Both facilities need a actual.
Okay.
And that is the reality on the ground. Timesre, omo movie out of offices. No mo he said, "No matro no book ni mo no."
Ebeye adwuma form.
Adwuma e wo form. Because ahokyere wo system ni say dem di kan. But I will say and we ya me ba studio mete say mampani ne eto a okoye na about 2.8 million Ghana cedis and or the high presidential or the high jets, private jets at the koye. Obra me no mienu Ghana for a yen atade for bidie for kakufo sika kakra ye boaboa no ne de ahwe oman no ye bre no ono de or would taste ema nema efe into two kwan am Ghana wo presidential jet de so wonpe openia or timwa ne ho beto no or kwama no ne se okobunko todwe akira ma no ne fo Britain Wood institutions ne se yesere mo ka ye de mo mfa nchen but wo no sikan kwa me no mienu sika osesa fa private jets at the koye 2.8 million Ghana cedis. It tells you say this is a leader on my Ghana. For somebody to say His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo any na COVID-19 eba ya nkabi ebe west. Yenim mampeni o mabedi so at least from 2012 ebesi sabri. In Mose under His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, Ebola eshase wa West African countries. Oye nhihye ye papa. Ema bia nwura eha. Nanso so na ne nhihye a waye no eye de betumi abo oman Ghana eho ban. Dr. Okoboy is a health worker. He's aware. Say
onim
His Excellency John Dramani Mahama ni leadership a o show ye wo bra Ebola eba West Africa no. Say na breso na COVID ba ya enkonfa COVID enye profit say dia ban yi ye nyina ye bre COVID-19 nyina chiri no. Osan de eto akese ebegu eye Ghana for.
Dallas and John
Dramani Mahama will not be disinsensitive.
And Kano on the issue of the president renting a private jet. No, we time permitting, we are about to speak to Honorable Okudzeto Ablakwa on Obreki story, no, on his Facebook page, and he added, "Say we're filing urgent question with Parliament for government to come and respond to the issues." Maybe I just say, yeah, I'm coming to you.
Sorry, have you tried speaking with somebody from maybe Ministry of Information and I?
Oh no, it is once we get Okudzeto for him to state his claims, no, then we can get the reaction from. Yes, Dr. Kobe Afemami Shas here. Yeah, channel 10.
Jimensa is not only beautiful outside; she's a very beautiful person in the mind.
Absolutely brilliant.
I'm telling you. Now, Sebi Obi Mpewa, Obetima Yedie. Me Nanabi, my brother, we were more than 100 years. Osi doctor, me see yes. Osi so a doctor, Osi ya ba kupe na unti minsa. Osi eden. Me bisa no say eden. Osi sa ya no. Uko school de unti minsa. Me see opachon cheme. Osi ya time. Ana obi a umpel.
Qualified
Otem, yes. Edrobi ani ano. Obi. Now me as a politician, one thing I thank God for these 4 years of politics, I've come to know how complicated the human nature is. Some of the things I've learned, there is no book that you can learn from. If Obi Uma Minsio, if me go outside, now Ebi I may bow now Uma Minsio 1 bottle. In 30 years' time, when I see you, I remember you gave me water. That's how I am. And for giving me water, I am settled in my spirit. Say, Uyo Bia, if Bibi Behemia, you come to my aid. Utiami, and I will phone me. A bad dinner will be hard at you because I'll never forget a bottle of water. This costs less than 3 cedis. But politics taught me, say, you can place someone on the level of a you will let him now live and but he can be your fiercest enemy when you've not done anything. I've learned these things in politics. So it's made me calmer. I'm a better person. So, me pacho, as for Jimensa de Obi, we were spending an average of $14 per person according to the cost of our elections in Ghana. There were a lot of NGOs. No, say scano sudodo eboye dide na muye. No, nkofa say oh munim the peace is better than this amount of money. Look at the opportunity cost. This woman made us succeed at holding an election at less than $8, 7.5 or so dollars per person. Unse saw nkofa no ka sa na mani na ayedi. Sebi, every life is important. If one person dies, Sebi obi say oyen investigative find out how the person died so that we avoid it. I am with such a person. But Sebi, obi ba kase ne say Jimensa is a failure because we lost a life at our elections. Nipano is not being frank and honest with our Sebi, our history and ourselves, how elections have taken place. Sometimes gidi about election places, it has nothing absolutely to do with electoral officers. Ubehu a deranged person. Obi a Sebi. outright. Me cousin Bezame use strong word. But obi say oba damo na obe cause serious chaos. Say one nya soldier now police and stopping na obe ma moje hwe. It happens. So you can be the best electoral manager and someone who is deranged can just make people lose their lives. So my pacho, if you are calling for an audit of the system, it's fair so that we see how you can always improve upon things. But me and I didn't say this woman is a disaster. Like I said, she's beautiful not only outside. She's one of the most beautiful in the mind. Obi, let me come to now. By the way, I grew up in the compound house. The first time I experienced WC was at the secondary school. You see, these things are you say you are a socialist. Yeah, Kasati say a brony mano. Oh, that's social democracy. That's what they create. Obi, some politicians na brain on a comedy for 500. You see, let's continue as we mature. Let's move away from those things. Obi, me enter tech 2002. So me see the first time I experienced WC flashable toilet was in Presec. I grew up in a compound house. I sleep with my sisters, my twin sisters, who were in the same room. Mommy was one room. We queued to go to toilet. I've lived these things.
How many years?
Please, I'm coming. But I'm telling you, this is how I was raised. Obi, me, I was raised free range. You fear you town wall. Me so na me didi anopa. I said school knew me come bobo 3-4 different packs. Maybe fear answer my baby didi anajo. That's how I was brought up. So I also know how it is. But what is leadership about? Leadership is not about making sure poverty. You can't make poverty vanish in the world, but you have to lift a lot of people out of it and prevent people from going into it. That's what you do as a leader. Raise more out and keep a lot out of it. And that's what governments try to do. That's what Nana and the single tool. Obia was steady economics. The one with the biggest what's the word? Ramification investment is education. The only thing that has made it possible for me to sleep in the house where I've walled it is because I went to school. Had it not been for that, my struggles, compound house, there are a lot of things I would have been going through, Obi. And I believe that a lot of people can join me. A lot of people can be better than me. It all has to do with adding value. Intime pacho na kasana na look. I entered Tech 2002. I finished 2009. Obi. There were many times in school I went to class hungry. 2000 and 2009. President Kufuor was the president. Me in President Kufuor na mami bre. But you have school fees here. I can't crap I do for Eduani Obi. My roommate, my bonny Dr. Yusuf and Danny. Most of the time, half of the time, I know now my edit. My papa is gone, but I'm kupon shano. Because a commish, a combo, or see Jikakra, na ya show me. Obi, yeah, I say these things so that I know that just some few years ago, you go for class. Some of my mates in Obi, they were driving cars in school, medical school. Ni papa toka manu, your man is for fuel. What to eat was a problem. Kakakra. So that's why when I'm full, sometimes I look out for those who are, because I know how it feels like, Obi. So me pacho, but like I said, a leader cannot take out everybody who is hungry for the system. Keep people from going to that quota and save a lot from that. Obi, free SHS. But I'll keep it very simple. Average 120,000 Ghanaians qualified for secondary school, but they didn't enter secondary schools. When free SHS came, it dropped to an average of about 30,000. What it means that Sebi, and your biana sikenti na wanko, but majority, and President Kufuor has a term he uses, the overwhelming majority, or the greater, he uses the greater majority. Yeah. The greater majority were not going to secondary school because money was a problem. And Okoboy, as for me, I'm not any story news to me at all, because Makada, I went to my mother. I followed my mother. I went to sell her utensils to a woman at Okita Skakra community, and we got fees for admission, money for admission fees at Presec. I followed my mother. Had it not been for Mamino or Toma, I couldn't have continued schooling. 12 straight ones, field engineers, and the problem was school fees. We sold utensils. If my mother had not gathered utensils, and now I was an orphan. By now, maybe I'm a tonsium, Obi. Now, when we even entered Presec, when I entered Presec, I'm a twin, remember. My mother was getting a loan because you have to pay 2 people at the same time. My sister went to Nungwa Presec. She's a nurse now, 37. Had it not been for the loan from Agri Development Bank every term, by now, I'm going to tonsium. Me carry the first day also on your patient. Patient be saying, why a nurse dana? Or see, because of that but and compassion. I believe it's because of the training. And I'll come to the training. Because when you be easier, you learn to have compassion. Obi. Timepacho. Nana Akufo-Addo aboa ama close to 80 to 90,000 kids. They don't fall by the roadside. Now you see, if you don't have compassion, you are following your children's own. Me baronko metimi atua. Na omo kwan yebi say oh enu de Nyankopon ambe. Who told you? That guy who has fallen by the streets 20 years time, when your son is now the bank manager of ADB or CBG, on his way home, now a fatu, wa bono, phone, Apple, iPhone 12, Uncle Tony Skebia, 2,000 Ghana. After investing thousands of dollars into your child, what call a private secondary school, and now call Presec, and now Wesley Girls. It takes that boy who fell out at JSS. One evening, a come dino, iPhone, no DHA, obe kuno, now a NDBBR. The ambitions of the family is trashed. Into my point is that it is better to go for the thousands who are falling by the roadside and have some challenges with the system than to avoid those challenges and let them draw by the roadside. Now, Obi say, oh, and say extra classes inti. I did not say, hey, when I was in Presec, 98 to 2000, Obi, me call Presec Legon. Dr. Koboy, me math teacher, me bonidi. No, yeah, extra classes, master of the students. And to me, Chebibi, now me say, where did they get this from? Like I just oh, yeah, extra classes. When I come papa and say, me fear nye, they be cry di. But me spirit no is willing to. Oh, their own family say any project or say, hey, young man, yeah, the project in Juma or Preseka. Oh, Niska, bomodi na kind books, you know yourself, Obi. Mantimi and call extra classes. In the 90s, parents were willing to pay, Obi. Yeah, kind books no echo class Nyankopon Dom we finished well. The last time me and my wife be home me. Ada me nkwara no obese obi be chomadi of you. Me say why? How? Nkwara school fees amitua no me call public school. Their school fees can pay for 10 students. But because by the grace of God I can afford. Me say let me give them the best shot. Now obi sabe chomadi of you. I can pay but I don't understand. Because I didn't get to sit in the kind of class they are sitting. But how come I pay and I have to pay for extra classes? And my wife understood. I told my wife that I spent some time with them. The training, they are your children. Quality training. Spend some. Me too, I also make some time. So I made them read to me. So I told my boy, if you can read to me, you can read many things and go places. Obi. You see, so it's not the fact that your school fees, let's say the system not sign and say, but it's the training. I insist, it's the training. How you bring your child up. Now, Ben Carson. The famous surgeon. Yeah. Or see the mother. Nima me catch and say, if you can read, every door would open. Only if you can read. So, Obi, on say as parents are doing banu. Yanyanka want to predict the future for them. After free SH, after what 2 extra class, unyanka always up for Professor B at Cheno BB Ama. But the future, all is not in your hands. Sometimes you leave up some to God. Yaminsu. Do your best for your child. Me see Presec time na extra classes. Enti obi ka say oh me baba tenefie na baby so ho ma experience are very sad. Parents bi ho a omo baba fie for 1 month and 2 weeks per. No omo nyina ye omo ya. They don't want their child to be a one yanka ne kura no fia. On basa to obi school. Obi. Education does not guarantee a safe and secured future for your child. The training, you have to know what is happening to your child. Obi. Me didn't call for Preseka and now me say obi wa sebi onye papa biom or say along the way. Ni papa meant well, but they were not following up closely. It's me pacho ukara befia. Look, this is me what time can on my hands. I don't want to idle. I enrolled in a last Dominic Fremna so me hear some French classes be anaju. So me was exams into mommy time kakra. Obi applying ourselves to study and adding value. All the time. Sometimes you have to avail yourself. Akwana befie ma onye bibia ebe adi skill. Find something for the child to do. Recently, me didn't grant about tennis. Me pe bibia obi man instruction. I'ma follow some rules. It all adds to the complete makeup of the child. Obi. Say you come many places and not because of the school we went, but the training we had. Obi intime pacho and obi say to aduane man mbano say provisions wide obi me call Presec no man to aduane wa bontin da but aduane no mo do abontin na me hu I used to see it me pay but I didn't have the money. Presec we be a friend oh Gwasi me best friend onu de umma ne daniel aduane obe yaw on peso obe hu kra. That was in the 90s. Few of them omumu ye do obi, but sometimes you must be honest, you must know where you are coming from. and thank God for it and believe that the future will be different. Obi. Na me nim say min kitebi. Enti me ko Jan wo ho. Wache yi any macaroni any nam kese obi. Enye no bi na yedi wo dani ho. But me didn't find one son I call class. Odi wi ana me see, bro, you finish or say I finish. Me go. Obi.
On my wouldn't be.
They be ma ko di me di odani ho. Na obi eduani okoto. E ho na odi wo ha oni go to. Obi. Me kai one day me see na be frame your presec. No boy fool. I say come here. Obisa me say me need relatives ana. How can nobody they visit you? If nobody can visit you next week, you leave this house. Obi, because you be sire bi mu mo nya nkwan there any niama. Enti on tia say o see me parents, me busa for nim say ni baba presec ana. Obi, enye easy. So the fact say obi to eduane ama ne mba ana provisions no. Any obi brother obi me box man. First of all box na see enye. Enti hwinim ba wanya obenya gare ni shito bi ache. But man who ebi musu boxes for presec. Obi. Ba ko de ni box no eti say me de times 5. Eduane bia wa broche grocery shop e ho mu. Ento Ghana ha e free outside neighbor. Obi ene nyakupa dom or pilot or US. Doctor me so me bomb me doctor kakaka Ghana ni me politics. The only thing that levels all of us is education.
Yeah.
Now obi wo ha onyanka money background ko da presec because fear no mo da condition mu. Me dey bia me free of fear no me do presec na me ni gi obi because difference no was not that much. Intimate patcho, whatever the challenges are of our education, let's talk about it. Okay. But we should not speak as if the fact that president tia fees no look enche north now more running free SHS more or less because government pays for feeding and most of the things that tia and no cry now buying tia no obi ubetina see we are closing down the school because scam by it means some of the challenges were either structural or systemic. Now whether you like it or not, one legacy abema blessings ni kasade and impaibo dinner nature for many years to come is this free SHS. We should be interested in fixing the challenges and not going for the author, the one who brought it.
Thank you. Dr. Bernardo Koboy and Moten. And unfortunately, I said the Maka Yem Renisha. And Atik, ma yentio on free SHS na Dallas and Fayinye.
Yes, but that's it. Nearly kind. There are some issues being pessimistic clear. And sometimes I mean, some of our friends in the NDC, they just make this enterprise a bit more difficult. I mean, in some amuka and sana mudi court, and you be an amugusu amuka. Intimuko court ko yedi. Say ye declare obi wrong results. Muko court no dey na mutimichire. Enusua na mugusu amuka. Just because you want to demonize the Electoral Commission chairperson. And I get really incensed when Obi make it a claim, say, this is the first time I got to about Obi is a lie. Even by elections, and you can't blame them. You can't blame that on the Electoral Commission. The Electoral Commission, Sebi, they are not in charge of security. And this is just the practice of give the dog a bad name in order to hang it. And Nubiano Muye say, because the election was conducted by the Electoral Commission team, Sebi, any acts of omission and commission, they must be liable. It's not fair. To the extent that the Electoral Commission for Nankasa have said the police must make the reports on such incidency known to the public. A child say, Omankasa, they are interested in knowing the ACN because no Electoral Commission and our election management body would want to see recurrence of violence during elections. Enya review workshop. It was one of the issues that they raised. Said the police and the security architecture. No, as some better Ghana for near omuye fast incidents na ACN. No being what happened, who is culpable, and so on and so forth. So how then do you turn around and blame Electoral Commissioner Omwankasa? They are as interested in the case and in the outcome as you are. Say omuma violence niba and obi femu. I mean, in fact, what does it profit the Electoral Commission to see people dead? They would, in fact, they encouraged us to come out and exercise our franchise. A month for buy betu or betu or
yes.
Say see I was see unkrofo na omu see omu share nkran say obi ase obi akoto na aba nisa no omu mum na ema sebi nyame fo omu kran see ebi mu hwere omu nkwa me dwu hu amenti ase me de ye dwuma so a nye yie oti ase. But there is this subculture which in my view is very deadly. And it says, say, any Electoral Commission for no, adwin say, you know, munya adwin. And I'm choosing my words very carefully. ye adwin say ye no mo nya adwin da emfa ho papa on be ye bia because we have that mindset say enya dia ye no be adwin no de bia o me papa cry be ka say boni. Otherwise I do not see how ye betimi di sebi the unfortunate incidents are ACN no me hu nienti I said for electoral commission for sebi electoral commission for they don't command soldiers, they don't command police. They have even security, they are not involved. Sir, election security committees and home chronoba electoral commission did not have an input. All they did was probably to share some experiences in respect of AB, some hotspots are here in times past in San. That is all I think they did. But as to who should be deployed where, what should be done when there is an incident, needs expertise. And you Juma no. Obia Ghana ha obia trio biaka because of Juma oye. Electoral commission for Juma and security in Juma no. Until why do you blame? Just like Sebi Obi ko 2 galams here, then you are blaming the teacher for it.
Yeah.
That is a metaphor. And me do harm in Tiasia. And Yaguso, and that's what I'm saying. Say, amount for El Guswa or Moka before going to court. Sebi one Timan Koko ye. They are still repeating the same allegations Omuka before going to court. So Sebi Muko court koye. You went to court to vindicate certain claims, which you made prior to going to court. No, Muko, you know, in fact, and the forum was open. Mumbeka mwasem na mumfa adansidi mbetu ho. You had that opportunity. That case has been settled. You may not be very excited about outcome, no, and that is, you know, a regular feature of adversarial litigation. Sanity, and you be an nibeji, obibe lusu, obinibeji, and all of that. But who you are, once the matter is settled, unless you decide to seek further redress, so see who jamanaka dia. Let's just say why you have to say, okay, this is a decision that you can live with, even though you disagree with, and we make progress. But Yeka Electoral Commission na Kofa and Sema Yediko court. I mean, as if to say, the case was not litigated upon, which is not so. It was litigated upon and adjudicated upon. Yeah. And there are so many other things. Me, I always say, look, Electoral Commission will wait. Omuye Jumagam Emma Ganamai. And what they did, Sebi, if you want to be objective and honest, you would praise them. Even though I'm not saying that it's a perfect institution, and that is why I am very passionate about the Electoral Commission for AN. Because if we begin to demonize the Electoral Commission and we place them in such a stead as to make it easy for people to destroy them, what opposition and Sebi who can the dead and Ochina. And Sebi, if you set that precedent, or no more position, so almost the Electoral Commission for, and gradually we are nibbling away the integrity of the Electoral Commission, which is not good for our democracy. Until Sebi, sometimes because people tend to think, oh, you defend the Electoral Commission. It has nothing to do with defending the Electoral Commission. It's defending our democracy. The very structures are if we begin to cut those structures, those pillars, no, democracy no, boom. And the implications of if like a destroyed democracy in this country, and yes, Sabi say there will be coups and counter coups. No, we are profiting indirectly from democracy, and I make this point: say democracy is one of our biggest intangible commodity we export. Look, anybody who wants to invest in your country does what we call country risk analysis. And stability of your country is key. Yeah. And how do they determine stability of a country? Democracy is key. Rule of law, I mean, and all of that.
Peaceful election.
Exactly. And it's a way you're saying, and your coups, ne counter coups, na beba nunkwao. Your FDI is going to shrink. And who's and so on your economy? Or the FDI is shrinking, we're having issues to do with our exchange rate going up and so on and so forth. Because you need a lot of forex. What I keep saying is the problem with our exchange rate or the problem with our currency, and it's we have demands, supply side issues. People demand forex, which is not available. Yeah. And this is just elementary economics. Once there is excess demand and your supply is unable to meet the demand, it pushes your prices to go up. And the price of currency is what we call exchange rate. And say FDI no, and nkrofo omo invest na ye bibia afi omumba, they won't bring the forex. There will be short supply of forex. And look, we haven't transformed our economy very well. We haven't, reconfigured allocation of resources, among sectors of our economy. Until importing, our manufacturing hasn't grown and so on. So we keep importing, things to make up for demand as far as manufactured goods, are concerned. No? Until we haven't transformed our economy yet. Until we still import. And who import here, it means your currency is not convertible, which means you need a vehicle currency and a third currency. So $1 and a pounds and a BB. Who to sa sikano? Ese who ko bank na koto. Bank no so sebi omo ntwa dollars wo ho. Deposit sika no omo di ma wow when you make demand on them and so on. And sa sika no so every microphone be invest no. Any AB the foreign receipts are yenya ni sa no. Until if you destroy your democracy, people investing or who are wishing to invest in Ghana no on bejai. So your forex reserves, when I say forex reserves, I mean like your forex deposits. So betty because nobody's coming to your country to do any business with forex. So betty until you see that demand is outweighing supply of forex, price of currency goes up, exchange rate is going up, your currency is depreciating. Now because and economics is an interesting subject. Variables are interlinked. Once you have a problem with your exchange rate, it has an effect on inflation. It's called pass-through inflation. So because who importing your man, odi obisi can ekoto. Until everyone say, I go to buy this for $2 today, and let's say the exchange rate is 1:1, like dollar no is 1:1. Until me thought $2 number, me turn said $2. Every medical cracker one now I turn by 2 cedis, 50 pesos. But if the exchange rate depreciates, dollars need that's $2, but me the bar and then 5 cedis. So inflation, the cost of near toin a cost. Until things are interlinked, and democracy is at the center of all of this. And how we sustain our democracy is how we deal with our electoral commission. Because if they are unable to conduct elections, essay omuye ya say omobi enji omundi biem outcomes yen jin tum na avenuma ya basa. All these things would happen. Esiswa, we are just a step a step away from being called another Sebi Somalia. Uti as here. Until I say the way we demonize the electoral commission. Me Obi Sebi, when you study a few things, you tend to appreciate Nyamabi. And when you look at the experiences of other countries, you even appreciate Sanumanu even the more. Until media, that's what I like to say about this. So I'm not saying don't disagree with the electoral commission. Express your views as forcefully as you can. But a man say this is a matter of course. Say when be as electoral commission with your best side or more. A young kotia nkrofumi they are arrogant. That's just me. I listened to one. I was sad. Say nientia omun nya adwin ye from meetings from ban say the chairperson any another deputy they are arrogant. These are subjective, these are judgment calls which shouldn't feature in our governance conversations. The fact that penance I'm sebi ebi almost digi but for the purpose of consolidating our democracy they are bound to deal with you. But we don't have to like one another to work together for the good of the country. Mika I will make time.
I count 1 minute.
Oh, how can you? No, don't do this.
I count 1 minute.
Oh, okay, I have 5 minutes.
5 minutes, unfortunately. I can do 2 minutes for you, me pacho. 2 minutes.
What was education there? Say Okuboya can ye. Look, human capital. Like even in production, one of the input factors. Apart from capital, you have labor. Now we are moving from labor to human capital.
Yes. Because
human capital is like skilled labor. When there is an improvement in the labor, not just labor, there is some improvement or value addition to the labor that you have.
Yeah.
That is where economists are even when you are discussing structural transformation. People usually would deal with, or when they are modeling structural transformation, they don't use just labor, they use human capital.
Human capital.
What you say? A child say, sebi, and you just labor nkwana here. But say labor now we use sebi, they are skilled. There is some value addition and so on. And how do you get labor to improve? It's through education, training. What you say? And the education there, you're very key in everything you do. Education is very important. Until I supported the idea of making it accessible to everybody through free SHS. But I'm not also blind to the fact that when you implement a policy, after maybe you need to sit and review. Evaluate. What you say? Yeah. And you're implementing free education. The intention behind it is solid and all. But there are issues with the implementation. Yeah. And nobody can run away from that. Until I was thinking, say, at this point in time, we should have had a free SHS review conference. Okay. What you say? Okay. At which among for people who have brilliant ideas in this country, you engage academics, practitioners, and sometimes you're like, this country is blessed. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have solid brains. Yeah. At our conference, they can share with you perspectives, to make this policy a sustainable one.
Almost 5 years of
Absolutely. This is the time to do a review. Because look, there are issues with delayed disbursements. There are issues to do with even corruption. Yeah. Of
course.
Of course. And there are issues to do with infrastructure. Look, you see, there was an externality to this to the implementation of this policy, and it's
congestion.
Mm-hmm. We suspected that there would be increase in the numbers of enrolled students, but not to this magnitude. Okay. I mean, yes, was a bit as the Adrian who said, I do with the Ebeburi and so say, now Abedru. So through your evaluation, you have been who said this is a problem. Expansion of infrastructure. Okay. And I think, sir, we haven't quickened the pace of expanding our infrastructure to meet the growing enrollment figures. Okay. Which is one of the things that review me. So what would be the solution?
What's the way forward?
Do we need to expand the existing structures and now
or build new schools?
What you say? Intermediate. My call on this is let's do a free SHS review conference. Now you're
not with the intention of scrapping.
Hey, who scrap? Hey, Anka fix the country demonstration. Anka, what would come? No, a best chance. How can you abolish something like a free education policy? People are praising Ghana for this. You can't scrap it, but you need to make it sustainable.
Make it work.
By dealing with the challenges. Okay. And I am all for a review conference. And we cannot always explain away some of the challenges. Some of them are real.
Okay.
Some of them are real, and we need to admit that these are issues that require some resolution. Now, when you call academics that are brilliant brains and so on, even politicians, and politicians, sometimes, sometimes, I say, Ghana problem. Issues be why. Minka said, don't compete. Mm-hmm. You can compete. In fact, politics is about, how you authoritatively allocate resources. And to do so, who determines how resources are allocated? Through competition. Yeah. And the politics by nature is competitive. However, there are some subjects that require more cooperation than competition. Yeah. Issues to do with security, education, health, economy. Look, I can disagree with you. Probably you are maybe taxation, for example. You want to suggest an increase in the rate of a certain tax base. Me imagine say, who increase here? There will be lesser returns because there's something called Laffer curve, which tells you that when you increase the rate of tax, it is likely you receive more. Less. So I will say, me increase the rate of tax now, but one year, less because two effects are likely. Tax evasion and tax avoidance. Yeah. And even if it's a consumption tax, for example, people can even begin to cut down on their consumption. Until we can disagree, maybe you can increase, you can't increase, and so on. But we can't say we shouldn't tax. For example, among what the taxes are politics. Taxation will we. How do you fund your budget? Expenditure. How do you fund your expenditure? It's either you raise revenue, enough revenue.
I think we might need another day for that.
Okay, my main for when we until the American say politicians misread issues. Need be what say education. yeah discuss here.
Let's find a way of.
Let's be more nationalistic in our conversation.
Okay.
Yenja o we dear me can me semuna me can trust a bebuami. Meanwhile, who can sano? At the end of the day, your education a bit me aha. Let's we can contribute ideas in a way that's more helpful.
Super. Atik Mohammed. Dallas and Poma William.
Obi.
Regional Communications Officer.
Fayewie. All the small parties, you know. Omo ni seat of parliament.
Yeah.
Unze na lanse ebi mu bom ba show mu say aden kra no. Utwese na Atik kasa ya. Unze no ntina say small parties still keep you around.
Obi. Mame te baby Atik the way and mame te hotel. Obi, your core elections are the manifestos. So Ghana 4J or manifesto ni tumwa, it then becomes the social contract between a political party and Ghana 4. Into which let me say you are going to move the economy from taxation to a production. Now 5 years down the line, or the COVID-19 tax ebreme, or the Bola tax ebreme, we increase me fuel price. I'm a name to fuel about 27 Ghana cedis a gallon. Now me can I have every right say me can. Now I refer to a promise or any what you are delivering. Especially when me say times are hard. Inti mintia more. Sebeya will be to me at the abo mine ho buy. Now wama me belt him on be belt him and a woody didishia baby our belt and a one. It is unacceptable, Obi. It's unacceptable. Because if you look at 2021 budget, allocation on 1 year their co-presidency in goods and services, salaries near Kikahua, and Chelsea may want him. Osha see at the 2.8 million Ghana cedis, Alpha private jets, Ako Johannesburg, and Paris. And Chelsea or may ewa him. Timati a year and I believe say at the appropriate time na tik eba e betumi reremu ye na Ghana for who say ye di yet for no e say ye hunu eso insunsuan so papa. Obi quickly on EC edie no ya ka say if he say ye free 1992 ebe 2020 election no ene ne adente ye democracy, and I will be surprised say ne ya kan nyina achiri many are ticks too, General Bia would say easy abon homoden pa. Obi. Jemen Sane Electoral Commission chairperson. If he so be DEC no. Onfa IPAC any who. In fact, some me no ti he kra me sra Jemen Sa problem. Obekaya, ye general secretary say din ketianya kakra wasa den na wosre. IPAC meeting. Now, security details are a war IPAC meeting. And ye easy. Mokotna se bobo adwen. Near Makasi no nya no na easy de betuja. Obekaya easy issue statements. Actually say political parties ni nyina take decisions. NDC sorry kasa ya pe osan release statement by say umeboa manka ni ye edane na no. Dr. Bosmasari or deputy commissioner meboa na. O ne utterances against the National Democratic Congress. Jemensa ni posture. Echire wo pefe se. Ye appointee one pe. Ona adwen chire omo adwen po a omo de call commission what they say. Send another dan kwaku for the appointee ye indie. Yemfa kwan bia so na yen reward no one the second term. And they used the security.
Why am I now can easy?
Oh yeah, Jemensa ni document.
Omonfa kwan bia so no nye dey.
Yeah, no ma na adunya the second term and
wow, what can say more?
Asam kwan me chire no. Ohwa on posture no on adwen pa on the call commission wa.
O de wonim.
De chire pefe eno no. Meba ho obi meba ho. De chire pefe eno no. And to say election way credible. Ya bo on abaso European Union for crab on abaso ne keka no. That is also false. Because Obi, over European Union on report, they stated say, Bra ye twaba me no me ye kwa twaba no. Yam prevent obia. But during counting collation no, na ye transparent. It is a ya twaba obronifita obehwe ye kire say. Kwan ye fa so keka bo mu kire say kwadwo manu na edi nkonim enye transparent a. E ba ne sign obegina media fo ye nim. ne Ghana fo nyina hwe ye nim se ka kire say woni electoral commissioner wa bo ho modern pa che say ebi ma da nti yemo wa baso clearly wa failure of my Ghana ye gidi a wo isi ni mo no atofom and it is up to James and Napam for say one best sakra one adwen no ma ye niema abema Ghana fo ye gidi asan abeche omu.
Okay.
Obi on free education me gidi say obi ntumi enye money bo say me na me de free education eba my Ghana mu ye nyina ye nimu say amanfo tena se etro ye 1992 constitution no ye nhihye say ye make sure say be ye mfie du akiri no Ghana ho masua no from the basic to the secondary level no ebetumi aye aye free. In fact we constitution article 25 no b no o kenkan a sign kire was a tertiary education ne kran so no ye koye nimo no or see make sure say e very accessible if possible you see tumi ye man ye free ni Ghana ni bi atumi ye den ekobi abanya aba eko ehyenhye na se basic school no ene menya ne ntie kra say be 2 years ni capitation grant no enkoye the teacher for no ekekam ye be sre aban say eno na omo de running school nti 2 years na enko ya minim ba bia obese omo ko fasika e de running school no obi His Excellency John Dramani Mahama ne NDC aban share asese ye implement progressively free education ye share asese with day students mekai say 2016-2017 academic year no ewo Abri girls. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama esan launched the second phase of it na cover borders. Say almost so no aban be so na sene na awofo ho ayeden ahan won. Mampani Akufo-Addo ne MPP aban ebaye no. They decided say one also be taking it to another level. It instead senka from form 1 to form 3 senior high school for no. Ne yeso obia sene kakra anda John Dramani Mahama no. Ono de wo say me be sha se free form 1 for no. Me fa mo ho ka no enyina na mako school ni den free. Na form 2 form 3 for no matua when you say form 2 form 3 they started paying fees cuz say omo a free school mo then na form 1 for no do no sha se no abedru form 3 then na form 3 form 2 form 1 na is it there abeye free ama obia now say wo beye sa policy we ya obi when you say automatic say enrollment ebekosro mebo ana enunti asaban a wonimu nia oye no ese we make provision say enrollment eko esro no you be here classrooms you be here dormitory blocks you be here dining halls aka ho a ebetumi aboa mankwada no atumi asua ade ewo environment a eboa 5 years down the line obi ne nkwada guso da form our secondary schools more. This government have no excuse. Only excuse biara. Mitie prof. In fact, or ya dear say and some are four headmasters kan nyina or ya dear so ni nyina be table na se obona ho modern. But obi, we cannot be this simplistic when it comes to challenges ekoso we free senior high school nimo. One, accommodation. And the last time I made with FDAC, me refer to school be the northern part of Ghana. And kwadane hawa omo enemua a headmaster for a teacher phone to me in Kasa and kwadana fat from houses on demonstration. Omo demonstration I want a year no. Ni omo can say, baby omo beda a problem. I fe classrooms omo be sunya de no. General arts any business for yakoma boom. They say, Obi, who call secondary school? General arts ni business school for ya come nyina bomu. How do you teach them? Made me ba ako secondary school and now form 3.
Ala so sima ba ko.
Oh, Obi.
Yeah,
one year fair.
Let me about 10 minutes.
So Obi, ya take nyabe 30 minutes cry.
I think
Obi. Made me ba ako secondary school.
yes.
From form 1 basic form 3 and never wa enche obetro no. Why internal exams 1.
Wo de oba.
1.
Also, Oba Echo
secondary school.
And from Form 1.
From Form 1, basic Form 3, ne. And Chawabetro was in. Why exam, internal exams? 1.
No, but that cannot be true.
I am telling you.
That cannot be true.
Missing, I won't say young one.
No,
School not say.
That cannot be true.
And when a young one, that is the reality.
Omo Form 2 CC Form 2 for no na. Omatro exams 1 because of the whole of last year. Form 3 it cannot be 2.
3.
Which school?
Exams maybe I make catch it offline. Off air. Why exams 1?
No, but that cannot.
I still have the results on the phone. I say omo we bia no results no on the send it
Form 3. I am telling you Oko school 2018. And the whole of 2018 one exams.
Say why exams 1?
But that cannot be true.
Sir results and I still have it on my phone.
2018 with no COVID.
I am telling you, Obi.
With no COVID. One how can you even believe?
Exams 1
How
from
do you
Form 1
believe story
from
about
Form 1 to Form 3? What throw exams 1?
Later.
What throw exams 1?
Yeah, but it's not true. He knows it's not true.
B. No, it's unfair. Okay, say no career.
It cannot be true. Because any public school 2018.
Me see.
One exam the whole of 2018.
Obi.
2019 one exam.
Me see.
What about Form 3? What exam
from
1?
Form 1
years.
2018 now Oko school no what throw exams 1 per 1.
How can that happen?
1 per 1 per Obi.
No.
Na sakwada school from Form 1 to Form 3. Now internal exams are year to assess akwada ne say adia a teacher for na kire no no wahunu a ana say onhunu ye no. Oh. You see, Doctor Obi. Now for this whole period, yentumi assess akwada no mponhu say de ye kire no no.
Don't proceed.
Obi, I know what I'm talking about. Me say.
You can't.
Minimum make catch
from 2018.
From 2018, basically. Why exam 1?
What school is that?
Maybe I'm a body
David.
Maybe I'm a body Obi, you are not being fair. Obi, you are not being fair. Me say, what try exams 1 pair? And to say, what catch them say? What catch them say?
It's not true.
And then kwadan kanam streets munina because of free education. Onu nyina eco school mu a. What you are doing is say, akwada wako school for 3 years. And exams, internal exams, why 1? Obe we school in the end obey.
Dallas and Poma Williams.
And Oshe.
2 more minutes and it will be 7 p.m. Medase. Wakasa 13 minutes. Medase papa. Nyamin shao. Ebe science we share bio. But the point you made say 3 years in school, actual 1 exams, that cannot be. It is not true. It is not true. It's not true. Don't do that. Oh, that's not true. That's not true. How is that possible? From 2018, no, we're on school 2018.
Internal exams, why you 1?
How is that possible? Say internal exams meaning say terminal exams.
Terminal exams 1.
But how can that be true?
1. And you call this education?
Yeah, also St. John's Grammar. It would follow up. Yeah, would follow up. Ekosiisen is the higher.